For a dozen years, Daryn Kagan was a familiar face on CNN, traveling the world reporting on world events and entertainment. But when her contract wasn't renewed in 2006, she had a big decision to make. Go get another anchor gig or become a 21st century broadcasting entrepreneur. She chose the latter, and she launched reinvention.com, an award-winning site that's full of inspiration, and we are lucky enough to have you sitting here right now. Daryn Kagan, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, big decision making almost a year ago. It was November 13th when you launched this site.
Right.
Huge career move. Why not just get another on-camera broadcasting job?
You know, television news was wonderful, and my 12 years at CNN was great, but it wasn't where my heart was anymore. And when they came to me and said they weren't going to renew my contract, for me, it was an opportunity to ask myself if I could do anything I wanted, what would I do? And I decided to launch this website that had the kind of stories that I love, the kind of stories that make your heart go zing, that make you feel good, and that inspire.
Tell us a little bit more about the website, because that is really what it is. You're trying to show the world there is a good side to what goes on.
There is.
And how do you do that?
Right. Well, I do a daily webcast at darynkagan.com. Every story fits the theme, show the world what's possible. And I have 13 different categories. So there's a page just with inspiring kids stories, over 60, overcoming obstacles, heroes, business, and also a page that's just love stories. There are great love stories out there.
Bit of a daunting task, at least seemingly wise, going from what you did with the responsibility on air to kind of getting the tools you need for cyberspace. How do you do that? How do you make that leap?
I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I look back and I think, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? You know, it really is a case of following my heart and what I wanted to do and what I felt called to do. And I think when you're inspired and you feel like you're putting something good in the world, you know, you hear when someone's launching a business all these kind of hard news things. Oh, all these things went wrong. I'm the exact opposite. So many things went right. And even to the point of giggling, because everyone and everything I've needed has just shown up.
Yeah, because we talked about it earlier. Your website is almost like a morning show, but on the web. It's very nice. It's very easy to navigate. How is it 1 year later? How do you feel? How do you feel about the results you've seen in the last year?
It's been an incredible year. I have not looked back. I mean, I loved all my time in news, and the 12 years at CNN was great, but to wake up every day and it's my job to talk to inspiring people who are doing amazing things, and then let these stories come through me and put them out there on a website where people can access them 24/7. I mean, because the truth is, okay, you turn on Good Morning America and you can see an inspiring story, or your local news, or the end of a network newscast, but you don't have any control over when that story is going to come on. So maybe it's a mom who needs that last thing that she sees at the end of the day. That's when she needs her fix of inspiration, or somebody in an intense job they wanted at lunchtime or in the morning. The whole power paradigm is shifting. The person who's in front of the computer is in charge, and when you need that dose of inspiration, it's waiting for you at darynkagan.com.
And you're really interactive, because the stories you do, you ask people to send you their stories, and in a way they can also produce a bit of their video.
Right. Well, here's the thing. As I was creating it, I said, okay, I'm creating this website that has inspiring stories and make you feel good. And so it was almost a no-brainer. People are like, oh, we love that, we want that. But when you tell people that, they go, ooh, I have a story. Almost everybody has a story.
Yeah.
And so what that told me is people just didn't want to experience this kind of content, they wanted to participate as well. So every page of darynkagan.com has this big fat box that says, tell me your story. And you click on that, it generates a form, and you literally tell me your story, which comes to me as an email. I would say at least 65 to 75% of the stories on darynkagan.com come from people clicking in and telling me their story.
Wow. Yeah. Memorable stories for you. What has been standing out over the past year that you recall?
Wonderful stories. Well, I remember the very first story I did, Scott Rigsby, who just made history in Hawaii at the Ironman. He became the first double amputee to complete the Ironman using prosthetics. So the very first day I went for a run, we were talking about how we're both runners, I went for a run with Scott Rigsby, and he's just such a great guy. He has all these different legs depending on the event. It's like talking about a woman with her shoes. You know, oh, Daryn, you got to see my biking legs, and you got to see my running legs, and these are my walking legs. He's great. And then another person who comes to mind is this man named Sebri Omer, an Ethiopian immigrant. He came to this country, he worked really hard, he built up a business with 2 gas stations and a car wash, and then he went home to visit Ethiopia after 20 years and found that this little village that he was from needed a hospital. He came back, he was so motivated, he thought, well, how am I, this immigrant to America, going to build a hospital? He sold half his businesses, and now he has financed and built the most modern hospital in Ethiopia. To me, it shows what's possible and what's possible to do today.
Possible to do. You're a good example of that. We talked about that we talk about in our business there's life after TV.
There
but
is.
For women in general, if you're doing something you don't like, there are alternates.
You know, what I found is I'm living a story of reinvention. And what I also know is most people will never be a network news anchor, and most people will probably not launch their own website. But most people, and I think especially women, will come to a point in their life where they need to reinvent themselves. And it might be because of a layoff. It might be because of a divorce. It might be because you're a stay-at-home mom and your kids grew up. And okay, so now what are you and what are you supposed to do? But what I have found through talking to different people over this last big year of my life is at some point in your life, the thing that you did and the thing that you defined yourself by will go away. And then what? What are you going to do? Are you going to curl up and cry, which has its moments. It's good to cry a little bit. But after that, it can be just the most amazing opportunity to reinvent your life on your terms and be even happier than ever.
And you've done things that I think a lot of us in this business would like to do.
What do you want to do, Heidi?
Well, you've taken an even longer format. You've gotten into documentaries. You've completed one documentary last year. You've got another one coming out. And it's all about going green, which is such a catchphrase today. Yeah,
well, this one's will be called Solar Town USA, and it will be a green documentary. But what I love about it, I see even a bigger theme than just the environmental themes. The story is we go to the first solar village in all of America, which, believe it or not, is in Wisconsin, a little town in Wisconsin. You don't think sunshine. But this is a town, Soldiers Grove, Wisconsin, that is right along a river, the Kickapoo River, and for 100 years this town flooded over and over again. In 1978, 30 years ago, the town leaders got together and said, oh, okay, we get it. The town's not supposed to be here next to the river. And so what they decided to pick up and move the town to higher ground.
Literally pick it up and move it.
I mean, where you go, where the downtown was before, it's just a big grass field now along the river. And you go like a half-mile away up a hill, and that's where the downtown is now. I like that because I love what's possible story. So it shows it's possible for town leaders, for people to come together, to listen to Mother Nature, work together, and come up with a better solution for their city. When they rebuilt, they made the rule that every new building had to get 50% of its heating from solar. So it's 30 years later, suddenly all of America is interested in alternative energy. We go back and look at how they came to that decision, what worked and what didn't, and then go look at other solar towns and villages that are building up around America today.
Have you yourself taken inspiration from that? Is that something kind of when you do these types of stories, especially going green or helping to save planet Earth, do you try to incorporate that in your daily life? This is what I take from all my stories and all the people who I interview, that sense of what's possible. I will tell you, it's really hard doing what I do to have a bad day because and have a pity party, because you talk to these people and you see what they've done and you see what they've overcome, whether it's the elements of nature or maybe physical disease or maybe grief, just really difficult situations, what they've done, and you get over yourself real fast. So you're just conquering it all. You've got the documentaries, you've got the website, you've got a new book coming out as well in the spring. Talk about that. Surprisingly, What's Possible. Yeah, tell us about it. That will be like the website, a series of inspiring stories, and go and talk to people about what they've overcome. And sometimes it's a really big thing, like a woman who had a heart transplant and now is a mountain climber. But then also the mom in North Carolina who took 21 years to get her college degree while she was building her family, a combination of biological and adopted children. All people who had something in their life, how they overcame that and didn't let the odds beat them. Now, we heard something interesting about you. We heard you're a big fan of Dancing with the Stars. Is that right? I have not missed a show. You have not missed a show. Could that be the next foray? Of course I watch. Okay. Are you kidding me? Is that the next foray maybe for you? Would you turn down an offer to be on Dancing with the Stars? You know, I look at that and I think, now that would be the ultimate what's possible. We were talking about how both you and I like to run. I like to run because it's a straight line. Yeah, and there's not a lot of coordination. But I love that show. If they could teach me to dance on Dancing with the Stars, that would be the ultimate inspiration for my website, definitely. Well, you're inspiring lots of folks. We've checked out the website, and we're going to find more about it at our website, abcnews.com. But certainly go right to yours, DarynKagan.com. Thanks for coming. I'm Heidi Jones, and you're watching Good Morning America now.